I want to end here by talking about clean energy, the third overarching initiative of the Hoosier Environmental Council. Part of it, again, is motivated by the significant contamination risks that result from the fact that 96% of our electricity is generated from coal in Indiana. What you see here is the Bear Run coal mine, which is the largest coal mine in the United States east of Mississippi, located here in Indiana in Sullivan County. Just think about the degradation that is caused by that coal mine. Now, I understand that there's reclamation that is done. In our view, it's not equivalent to what the land once was. And then, of course, there is a risk of acid mine drainage. Why I bring this up is that the safeguards that are protecting our waterways from these coal mines are inherently weaker in Indiana than they are in other states. They're governed by what's called a general permit rather than an individual permit, which is significantly less stringent. The other piece of the equation, of course, is coal ash. Indiana ranks first in the volume of solid waste known as coal ash that is generated from these coal plants in the entire country. And this coal ash consists of arsenic, chromium, selenium, mercury. And the problem is that a number of these coal ash dumps are unlined, and there is a risk that they could percolate into our groundwater or break and enter on our waterways. This is not a theoretical claim. I again show you an image that I showed a few minutes earlier, which talked about the absolute devastation that happened to the Emory River in Kingston, Tennessee in December of 2008. This is a real serious concern. Now, like I said, I want to talk about opportunity here, and the opportunity for jobs in clean energy are pretty profound. And this is a good example of what could happen to our state if we invested more in clean energy. Of course, wind farm construction. In White County, $1 billion has already been invested in wind farms, and it has literally doubled the assessed value of property the assessed property taxes in White County as a result. You've got an image, of course, of solar panels. One of the largest solar farms in the entire nation is going to be built in the Indianapolis airport area. And then at the bottom, of course, you see something that we often don't appreciate, but is a profound source of clean energy jobs, potentially in Indiana, and that is energy efficiency investments. Now, we've achieved some successes in this arena as well. Indiana has what are significantly stronger net metering rules, and this makes it much more affordable for a small business or a residence or for a church or for an industry to power part of their energy from renewables. And we are very proud of the new rules that Indiana has adopted related to this area. We've also been involved in helping to adopt what's called the Clean Electricity Standard, which is a series of incentives to our utilities to invest more and more of their resources in cleaner sources of energy generation. We'd like to see SB 251 get more meaningful, and that's what I'm alluding to when I talk about the Clean Electricity Standard. There are a number of different things that could be done to this piece of public policy so that it leads to a significant diversification of our electricity resources. Just as a state that's fiscally conservative, one important element of the tenet of conservatism, of course, is diversification, providing hedging risks. That's very much of a conservative principle. We'd like to see that embraced in our power sector. We think that strengthening the public policy that I mentioned would get us there. I want to end in terms of talking about clean energy by talking about business-owned clean energy, symbolized by upgrading businesses with energy-efficient devices and installing solar panels. The business rationale for this is obvious. It's about saving operating costs. It's about making your company greener in a marketplace that increasingly values green attributes. And of course, it's about corporate stewardship, about reducing pollution, about promoting clean technology. Now, Indiana has a number of tools to promote that kind of on-site clean energy. We have better building codes. We have what I was referring to as net metering policy. We have grants and loans that are periodically offered by the state government and by federal government to the state to help accelerate investment in those areas. But what's missing in the equation is substantial private sector finance of clean energy. And one thing that we've been pushing with, again, in a broad-based coalition that includes Johnson Controls, Simon Properties, Knauf Insulation, great Hoosier employers is something called PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy Bonds. And PACE solves two major challenges that face property owners who want to make genuine investments in clean energy. One is they might lack the upfront capital to make those investments in solar energy or energy efficiency. And the other issue is that the payback period for, say, a solar panel might be 15 years, whereas they may only be in the property for 5 or 7 years. So why make an investment for which they won't recoup the entirety of the investment? The beauty of PACE is that the loan travels with the property and not with the person. And so that solves that second long-standing problem. Now, how does PACE work? The legislation that would be adopted at the General Assembly level would empower localities, cities, and community and counties to issue bonds. Those bonds would be used to provide cash to those small business owners and those big business owners to then be able to make major investments in clean energy. They would pay back their assessment over a 20-year period. 23 states have adopted it, including our neighbors, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan. The beauty of PACE is that it is structured in such a way that the participating property owners are ones for whom the energy bill savings will on average exceed the incremental costs that you're paying over that 20-year period. And therefore, your cash flow is going to increase. This is a brilliant private sector strategy to expand clean energy in Indiana, and it's one, again, that we've had Republican support. So wrapping up here, a recap of our priorities: healthier water, sprawl-reducing transportation, and on-site clean energy. And I just want to emphasize that while some of you may say, well, Jesse, environmental policy always comes at the price of economic development, which is a claim that I often hear, I think that if policy is structured in the right way, if you choose the right challenges that the state faces, you can achieve a net gain in the environment and in economic development. And that's so important. That's thoughtful. And I very much hope to stay engaged with you all. These are 3 convenient ways to get in touch with us. And if there's a question that comes up, not in 15 minutes or half an hour or next week, write us at comments@hecweb.org. Become a fan of us on Facebook, and then join us on Twitter. Those are 3 convenient ways for you to stay engaged with us. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much.